With this show being a clear reminiscent of The Simpsons, Futurama is a sci-fi comedy that follows a pizza delivery boy, Philip J. Fry, who gets frozen for 1,000 years into the future on the cusp of the year 3000. Spanning 7 seasons and 140 episodes between 1999 to 2013, Futurama has received critical acclaim for its high concepts, excellent storytelling, and lovable characters. Even though the comedy is great, but what makes Futurama compelling is the strength of tugging at the audience's heartstrings for getting emotional when appropriate makes the show all the more engaging. Emotional, comical, and action-packed, Futurama is such a delightful gem. When Buffy the Vampire Slayer hit the airwaves back in 1997, it was so groundbreaking. It's a show all about an ass-kicking teenage girl named Buffy Summers and her group of friends who battle monsters, creatures, and vampires. This supernatural saga is thoroughly excellent in its entire run, taking viewers on a journey that's constantly compelling and never exhausting. Buffy the Vampire Slayer perfectly executes the winning formula of standalone Monster of the Week episodes with serialized storytelling. On top of all that, the show is packed with so many great characters. Not just Buffy alone, you even have the likes of Angel, Willow, Faith, and even Spike, who I think is probably the best character of the entire series. Throughout the show's 7 seasons, there's a consistent character development and growth. And while many of the character arcs in Buffy are empowering, it's never afraid to get dark as well. But even with that, the storylines will show how the characters all evolve over time, and that's what makes their individual and collective journeys so fascinating. If you're looking for a show for just pure 90s nostalgia, then Buffy the Vampire Slayer is definitely the show for you. For over a decade, Supernatural was the CW's flagship show. And while sure, over time, the show kind of petered out with its 15-season run, the first 5 seasons is when the show was at its apex. The show centers around the Winchester brothers who hunt down supernatural creatures from ghouls, ghosts, vampires, werewolves, demons, and even vampires. Much like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, each episode has a Freak of the Week type feel, and there's so many horrifying and captivating monsters to be found throughout. The aspect that keeps the show so addicting is the overall story that plays out in between the hunting of various creatures. The show is packed with moments that will make you feel scared, make you laugh, and even moments that will probably make you shed a tear. And while sure, the following seasons is where the show kind of juggles to being good enough to being okay or just dull. But even that, there's always some good entertainment in the following seasons, which is why Supernatural is definitely a must watch, especially the first 5 seasons. Serving as an adaptation of Thomas Harris' Hannibal Lecter series, and also as a prequel to The Silence of the Lambs, this dark horror thriller took the character of Hannibal Lecter to new heights, showcasing Hannibal's relationship with empathetic profiler Will Graham, played by Hugh Dancy. Mads Mikkelsen excelled as Hannibal Lecter as he was able to take on a role that had been forever overshadowed by Sir Anthony Hopkins' iconic portrayal, but yet he managed to make it his own with an emotionless, shark-like gaze and spry physical agility, giving the character a fresh and individual nature. While it is a damn shame that Hannibal got canceled after 3 seasons, the series creator Brian Fuller was able to reinvent the similar source material as well, delving into iconic scenes and storylines while still making it his own surprising routes, with the final season adapting to the Red Dragon arc, which is arguably the best version of it to date. Well, there have been tons of animated shows based on the Batman comics, but when it came to Batman the Animated Series, it's easily the best one. Not only is it the greatest adaptation about the Caped Crusader, it's one of the best cartoon shows ever made. While this may have been a superhero show that was catering to children, Batman the Animated Series had such a brilliant way of treating kids like they're intelligent, and the creators of the show realized that, as it would even have themes that it would cater to adults as well. Almost everything about this show was just pure perfection, from the storytelling, the character development, and they even had amazing voice acting talents such as the likes of Mark Hamill as the Joker respectively. Oh, and I can't forget to mention that this show would feature the debut of Harley Quinn, who was without question the biggest contribution to the show, as she became a fan favorite as the Joker's love interest and sidekick. With its dark themes and slick design, it's the definitive portrayal of Batman, and it's a must watch for anybody who's a comic book fan like me, because trust me, you will not be disappointed. A show that is immensely popular on Netflix, Stranger Things almost came out of nowhere, and it took the whole world by storm, including myself. With this show being an 80s set mystery thriller, Stranger Things is what you get when you combine movies like Stand By Me, The Goonies, and It, as it mashes it up with like a creepy atmosphere of a Stephen King novel with compelling characters that you grow to care for, and a strong narrative drive. Stranger Things has such a perfect formula of always getting you pumped up for excitement while also making you feel terrified at the same time. It's such a great homage to 80s pop culture, as it takes inspiration primarily of the works works of Steven Spielberg, John Carpenter, and Stephen King, as the story of the show revolves around a small town, a group of friends, a missing person, and even a dodgy science lab. I thought that the third season was just absolutely fantastic, as each subsequent set of episodes will deepen your investment in the characters' stories and friendships, which is the biggest reason why I am so pumped to see where things go in season 4. Peaky Blinders is a British crime drama that brings so much class, coolness, and style to the whole notion of the gangster life during the early 1920s in Birmingham, England. The show is all about a notorious crime family known as the Shelbys as they run the streets of Birmingham. Cillian Murphy is absolutely phenomenal as the family's patriarch Thomas Shelby, who not only gives a spectacular performance each season, but he also brings so much depth to the character as he helps to turn his family business and turn into a successful empire. The show offers intrigue galore set against a beautifully grimy background. Merely everything about the show is just superb, from the production, direction, visuals, and monologues that are just simply outstanding. So far, the show has had 5 seasons with the 6th season on its way. In other words, Peaky Blinders is fucking brilliant. A show that redefined sci-fi for a generation, The X-Files followed FBI agents Fox Mulder and Dana Scully as they travel across the country to investigate cases involving paranormal phenomena. The X-Files was such a huge success during the 90s, with critics calling it one of the best original shows they've ever seen. What made the show so groundbreaking was the fact that it generated buzz with an online community, making it one of the first shows to ever do so. The show had such a unique storytelling method where it would alternate between plot of the week and a season-long arc. The show was recently revived for 2 more seasons on Fox back in 2016, and even though it may have failed to have the same impact as it did back in the day, The X-Files is still worth the watch. With impeccable writing and the charisma of stars Gillian Anderson and David Duchovny, makes it the perfect binge watch. Okay, look, I know. Whenever Game of Thrones is brought up, critics usually remember how it badly bombed in the last season, completely ruining everything that the show was going for. But it's impossible to deny the excellent story that it told throughout its run. Game of Thrones was not just a TV show, it literally was the TV show for nearly a damn decade. Based on the popular book series by George R.R. Martin, the fantasy war drama stepped into gritty realism, characterized by its packed ensemble, grisly violence, and an amazing production design. The series told a story about the battle for the Iron Throne, a simple premise elevated by the inclusion of magic, dragons, and even horror. At its best, Game of Thrones features some of the best writing a TV show could ever offer, balancing the journeys of the characters with innovative battle scenes and political intrigue. It was bold, bleak, unpredictable, and even though it ended poorly, the show, up until its final moments, had been nothing short of a masterpiece. Any of y'all who are longtime viewers of my channel that know who I am and know what I like should know that this is undisputedly my favorite show on the list. To me, Avatar: The Last Airbender is the greatest animated TV show of all time. Don't you dare disagree with me. It's an epic tale about a young boy named Aang who's destined to bring peace to the world by fulfilling his quest as the Avatar. It's such a tightly plotted story that just gets better and better as it goes throughout its entirety. All of the characters on the show are written to perfection and purposefully utilized to the story, all of which include strong female characters and even a respectful representation of people with disabilities. Avatar: The Last Airbender is such a spectacular animated show that magnificently blends children's humor with mature themes and rich storytelling catering to the older audience. The less said about that shitty 2010 movie, the better. The Sopranos was the show that forever changed the face of TV forever. Airing for 6 seasons between 1999 to 2007, it not only reshaped the way how TV dramas were made, but it reinvented the entire mafia genre by making its key players feel like real people than cliched gangsters. Starring the late yet eternally great James Gandolfini as a mob boss and family man Tony Soprano, the show was at once a gritty crime drama and a dark comedy that showed off Tony's insecurities and balanced his weakness with his powerful pull in New York's criminal underbelly. The Sopranos looked past the cliches of the mob drama and created something wholly new yet very exciting. Whether if it came to iconic episodes like College, Pine Berries, and even Long-Term Parking, it made sure to be as twistedly funny as it was brutally violent, harrowingly tragic, and brilliantly unpredictable. At its impeccable writing, consistency, revolutionary performances, as well as its frequent ambiguity and nerve-shedding plot twists, is what you have with The Sopranos, which is a TV show that is just damn near perfect. Now, I could put this in a lot of fancy terms, but simply put, Breaking Bad is the one show that just knew how to get shit done. You sit down It thoroughly entertains you, tells you a great story, and then you leave. A show that was created by Vince Gilligan, Breaking Bad was a 5-season character study about Walter White, played by the amazing Bryan Cranston, who goes from being a high school science teacher to becoming New Mexico's most feared and infamous meth drug kingpin to provide for his family and feed his monumental ego. Breaking Bad is a show that is so perfectly crafted because how each season got better and better by feeling like a tightly contained unit of storytelling and part of a bigger whole. It'll always keep you at the edge of your seat for a breathless roller coaster of character drama through crime and punishment. On top of that, the show had amazing supporting performances from Aaron Paul as Walter White's tragic partner in crime Jesse Pinkman, Anna Gunn as his tortured wife Skyler, Dean Norris as his brother-in-law Hank, and so many others to name. Breaking Bad is a show that is just about as flawless as TV has ever been, which is why most people, including myself, consider it the greatest TV show of all time. End of story.